Welcome to the deep dive. We take your source material, really get into it, and hopefully give you a clearer picture.
Yeah, today we're looking at some really interesting stuff from Tarot by High C. We've got an astrological forecast for late 21-25, and this companion myth, a storyscope called Light Beneath the Stone.
And if you want to check those out yourself, you can find them over at tarotbyhic.net. But for us, right now, well, the mission is to dig into this theme that connects them both. This idea that real transformation, the deep kind, it only happens with some serious, radical honesty. We're kind of framing it as liberation through truth.
It's a powerful concept, and the astrology really sets that tone immediately. We're talking about the sun moving into Scorpio, which usually covers that period, October 22nd to November 21st.
And the message there is pretty stark, isn't it? It's all about truth, depth, no room for anything surface level.
Exactly.
If you're looking for the easy route, this cycle, well, it's not it. The energy basically says stop paddling on the surface, start digging down.
And I think what's really key here is the how. The sources point out that getting to that depth means swapping avoidance for investigation.
Okay.
Think about that, right? How much energy do we spend just ignoring things or numbing out?
A lot.
Yeah. And this Scorpio vibe encourages us to actually get curious about those uncomfortable spots instead.
That switch from numbing to curiosity, that feels like the whole point.
It really is.
Because if you want to actually change something, you have to look at why it is the way it is, why you made certain choices. You can't, rearrange your life if you refuse to even look at the mess.
You absolutely can. It's like trying to clean a room without turning on the light, which actually brings us to the central conflict the sources highlight.
Okay.
This deep desire we might have for transformation clashes directly with something else kicking in, this heightened need for control.
Right. Let's unpack that tension, because it feels a bit counterintuitive, doesn't it? Wanting control when change is on offer. Wouldn't transformation be a form of control? Taking charge.
You'd think so. But often the truths we need for transformation, they force us to admit uncomfortable things.
Like being wrong.
Like being wrong, or
Yeah.
that we caused harm, or just that the path we insisted on isn't working. And that feels vulnerable, really vulnerable.
Uh-huh.
So the ego, it panics. It tries to control the story about reality, even if it can't control reality itself.
So when you can't control the internal truth, you try to control the external situation. People, gossip, whatever.
Exactly that. The sources are specific about the fallout. Jealousy, vindictiveness, manipulation, trying to coerce people, power struggles.
Yeah.
Notice how all of those are about forcing things outside yourself.
Right. Trying to manage perceptions or outcomes instead of facing the inner stuff. It's a defense.
Totally a defense mechanism against that scary vulnerability.
So navigating this period well doesn't mean suddenly becoming perfect or only embracing the light. It's more about integration.
Absolutely. The sources really stress that. The goal is understanding the big cycles of life, and that means holding both darkness and light. They explicitly say each is essential to the other's existence.
You need the shadow to appreciate the light.
You really do. And that tricky balance, learning to accept both, that's perfectly captured in the storyscope, Light Beneath the Stone. It takes us from the stars down to a story.
Okay, let's go there.
So the setting itself is just, wow. Miranel, a city described as shimmering with half-truths.
Half-truths, not even lies, just incomplete pictures.
Exactly. And the people there live in fear. They believe that looking too deeply, really seeing the world's core, would make them lose their shadow, lose their connection to life.
So it's a whole society built on willful ignorance. Everyone walking carefully, keeping their eyes down, voices low. Just trying not to disturb anything. Don't turn over any stones.
Precisely. And into this anxious, tightly controlled world walks Elyra, the catalyst for change. She arrives during the season of cracked moons, which already tells you things are unstable.
And the description of her is great. Eyes like fractured glass.
Yeah, suggesting she sees things in pieces. Multifaceted, not simple, honest.
And she carries no lantern, but light just seeps from her hands. She is the illumination.
She's basically walking, talking truth.
Yeah.
And she deliberately goes to the places people avoid: old bones, forgotten ruins, the hearts of those afraid to feel.
Wow.
And she cuts through all that societal control with one core belief. There is no healing in hiding.
Okay, you can imagine how well that went down.
Not well. She gets hauled before the Council of Shadows. Their robes ripple like ink, perfect image for defenders of the status quo, right? the comfortable
The
darkness.
keepers of stagnation.
Exactly. And their charge against her is exactly that control issue we saw in the astrology. They say, you disrupt the balance. Some stones are best left unturned.
They actually believe the city needs the denial to function.
They do. But Elyra's response is just, it's the core of this whole thing. She doesn't just disagree, she dismantles their entire argument.
What does she say?
She says, you speak of balance, but what you defend is stagnation. Darkness fears no light when it knows its own depth.
Ooh. So the fear isn't the light, it's the fear of finding out how deep your own darkness goes.
Precisely. And saying that, acknowledging that, is the trigger. She raises her hand, the hall cracks to open and light floods in. But it's not about judgment.
It's just visibility.
Yes. Pure visibility, pouring into every hidden corner.
And the things that come out aren't some abstract evil, are they? The sources list specific, recognizable things.
Acts of cruelty that were excused as duty, love songs that were silenced, names conveniently erased.
Wow, that makes it so much more real. It's not monsters under the bed, it's the everyday compromises, the things we rationalize. Labeling selfishness as duty. That hits home.
It really does. And that leads to the big insight, the synthesis moment. The light doesn't destroy the darkness.
It reveals it.
Yes. And then the darkness starts to speak. It whispers about being lonely, about wanting to be seen, but without judgment.
So darkness is basically just unacknowledged truth.
That's the core revelation. It wasn't some evil force waiting to pounce. It was just parts of themselves, parts of their history that they'd locked away out of fear. It was lonely.
And once it's acknowledged, seen without judgment,
Yeah.
transformation happens.
Instantly. And literally, the city changes. Walls crack. But from the cracks grow these amazing things, trees made of both obsidian and light, roots tangled in molten gold.
Shadow and treasure woven together.
Exactly. Integration made visible. And the people finally see themselves in both the dark and the light. They find that balance the astrology talked about.
And Elyra.
She dissolves, transforms into light herself. But her last words linger. Do not fear the cracks, they are where the soul breathes. Seek the truth that frees, not the illusion that binds.
Wow. So Miranel, the city built on hiding, becomes a place where shadows teach and light connects. They finally chose investigation over avoidance.
Yeah, so if we pull back, what's the message for you listening? Whether it's the 22nd century stars or this ancient feeling myth.
It's the same demand, isn't it? Fierce honesty, choosing curiosity over denial.
They really merge into one powerful takeaway. And the source material sums it up bluntly. Truth is not gentle, but it is sacred.
It might shake things up, might crack your foundations.
But maybe that cracking is necessary. It's how the soul breathes, like Elyra says. It's how you rebuild on something real.
And that leaves us with this final thought, this idea that maybe Elyra is still around.
Yeah, like she appears in those moments where denial starts to crack open, where curiosity begins to stir. She represents that moment of choice.
So the closing thought for you is this. We saw in Miranel that fearing your shadow is really just fearing being fully seen. Where in your own life right now might you be holding on to that need for control, choosing denial?
And what could happen, maybe even today, if you chose differently? If you chose just for a moment to open your eyes and look for the light and the sacred vital truth hiding beneath your own stone.